Good day, YouTube. Today is Wednesday, which means you have me as your host. Today's topic came from our own Danny, the Druid. This question was basically brought to us due to a controversy that's taken the news by storm, where a witch allegedly went into a cemetery in New Orleans and removed bones that were allegedly above ground. And this person allegedly offered these bones to sell. And the story goes that her house was raided and 11 bones were taken. And now the story goes that there is a change in the law here in the United States, where you will be fined a whole lot more for any type of human bone possession. If you distill the question down, the basic idea is, do you think it's ethical to use human bone? It's a tough question because it depends on your practice. I feel like there are a lot of Wiccans out there who would say absolutely not. They don't agree with any types of bone use at all. And I feel like that kind of mindset comes from more of a new age type of idea. We have to remember just how old some of these religions are. Even with the Christian religion, there was actual fluids used from the body, such as blood and things of that nature. So magic can take you to some places that aren't as light and bright as you would want. If you are able to find this article online, and if you read it all the way through, they do touch on some pretty interesting topics related to bone. Human bone is going to give you a certain frequency that is a whole lot more in tune with human spirits. It's laid out in the article, from what I understand, that is the truth. When you use human bone, you'll be able to get in touch with spirits of human origin a lot easier than you would if you were to use a animal bone, an animal skull, a ceramic skull designed to look like an animal. That said, you don't need it, from what I understand. You don't need a human bone in order to contact human spirits. It makes things a lot easier because of how it resonates, but it's not 100% needed. Another thing I want to touch on about what I feel that this particular witch could have done different was the fact that the witch actually put on Facebook that she was getting human bone. For those of you out there who are aware, that's part of the witch's pyramid. You're supposed to be silent. She broke that rule, and in doing so, she basically caused all this ruckus. Everyone, who wasn't aware of the use of human bone is now aware. Laws have been tightened. There's all this controversy and outcry, and all she had to do was just be quiet. Yes, she did offer these human bones to people out there who were also witches and were planning on using it for rituals, which in her mind may have been a good thing, but when you look at it from the total sum, now that the case has been settled and she has been disciplined or she's been sentenced, the overall damage is much worse. If there was any way for you to obtain human bone legally, now it's pretty hard to actually do so. When it comes down to it, would I use human bone? I probably would not use human bone for ritual, because I feel like I can contact spirits without the use of it. I actually own a plastic skull that I was going to use for ritual of contacting spirits. If I had the option to use human bone, I probably would, if it was from a trusted source. And when I say trusted source, I mean someone who was the donor of the bone thought that it was okay, such as an actual ancestor. I'm okay with using my own family members' bones if it is written or if it's understood that they would be passed along to a family member. And that brings me to the third or fourth part of my answer, which basically is asking for permission when you take an offering from a grave. There is a process that you use when you want to go and take anything from a grave, or anything in general. I mean, it's very similar to when you go to a tree and you ask to take a limb from the tree. Some of you out there, I know a lot of you out there know of that process where you mentally or you verbally ask to take this piece of the tree and you wait for your answer. There's a very similar thing for graveyard dirt, which can be used when you go to a graveyard, you go to a grave, you mentally or verbally ask the person whether you can use their dirt to make a deal. And you will get some kind of answer from them. Sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes the answer is a hell no and an angry no. And sometimes the answer is simply yes, I'll help you. At which point you take the graveyard dirt and you go about your business. So to me, there were a lot of things that weren't done properly with this particular situation. If you haven't been doing this and you've been taking things from trees or graves or things of that nature, try doing that. Either mentally asking the person or tree for a piece of its belongings and waiting. Especially try this if you've noticed that your magic didn't work as you thought it would. That may be a reason. Perhaps what you took wasn't given to you. Perhaps they didn't want you to take it, but you never asked. So that about does it for my answer on this question. Hope it cleared some things up for you, gave you some food for thought. I will see if I can put down below a link to a podcast that talks about the topic in more detail with some procedures and things. One name that comes to mind is Christian Day. Whether you love Christian Day, whether you hate Christian Day, he has a book that talks about certain rituals with taking offerings from graves. So it's worth it to look up some of his stuff to see if you agree with it, see if it works for you in your practice. Anyway, thanks for the great question. I will look forward to the next question next week. Thank you and blessed be.